Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for another Monday This and That vlog. And if you're new to my channel, this is just a weekly video I do to talk about various different things. So I have a whole bunch of topics in here and answering questions that have come in through the past week, or giving you updates or information on new things going on, because it's the one time in the week I have where I can keep you more current to what's going on right now, since the rest of my videos throughout the week from Tuesday through Friday were shot 4 to 6 weeks ahead of time. It's just a way I stay prepared for anything that comes up, for anything that life throws at me, where I can still have videos coming up even if I need to take a break from it for a few weeks, or whatever the situation is. So let's go ahead and get to the topics of today, and starting off with the vintage jars. Now this one I've had for quite a while. I can't remember where I got it. It is an Ideal jar. I do know these new ones that Patrick picked up for me. Well, they're not new, but he picked them up for me. I got 4, and these are wide mouth. I didn't even realize they made wide mouth that old in this style of jar in the bale wire. Now they didn't have the rubber rings, which are actually pretty easy to find, nor the bale wires, which are much harder to find. But somebody, even after looking, I couldn't find them, but somebody else was able to find a link to a set of 3. They're not cheap, but considering the price of buying wire and making them yourselves, it was easier just to go ahead and buy some original ones so I can keep with the old style. I like having these jars on hand, and right now I'm just using silicone wide mouth rings that I have just to give it a good seal. I'm not using these for canning. Just like with this, I've got allspice in here. I like to use them for storage, and it's just a cool way to put them to use and still have some cool vintage jars, because you know, who doesn't like vintage stuff like that? So the bale wire should be coming in a few days. I'm pretty excited about that. And the other thing I like doing with, I do have some blue ones too that are probably circa 1913-ish. And oh, and these are the Eclipse. They were made between 1926 and 1952. So that's the time frame on those there. Now the blue ones, I did take one of my 3 blue ones and I turned it into a garden light by stuffing up some of the fairy lights you can get, and they're solar. And so I like those because they look nice during the day. So here's a picture of what it looks like during the day. And of course, they're going to look nice during the night when the lights come on. And so here's a photo of what they look like in the evening. So I'm thinking about doing more of that. And I don't know, I may or may not turn my other 2 blue quart jars into that, but I kind of like where they are right now in my kitchen and my windowsill. So anyway, that's what's happening there. If you're interested in more of vintage and antique things that I have collected over the years, and why I choose to go that route with a lot of things, and I always try to look for things that are actually usable, or most of the time. I'm going to link to that video I did a little while back on the types of vintage and antique things. I don't show everything, but I show quite a bit. So you might be interested in that if you like that kind of thing. Now the other thing that I wanted to share is this eggplant tincture I started. So I got the eggplant organic from Misfits Market and dried it up first, and then started my tincture using my own homemade wine rather than vodka or rum or whiskey, because, well, for one, I know exactly what's in it, and it's practically free because I make it from our own grapes. Sometimes apples, sometimes blackberries, but mostly from our own grapes. And that can work really well as an extract for many different things. Now, in some cases, your higher proof alcohols are going to work better, especially if you're talking about things like cinchona bark, anything that's a bark or a mushroom. Sometimes it's better to use a higher proof alcohol, but for most things I just use my homemade wine. Sometimes my homemade wine mixed with honey, and I've even made an oxymill using homemade vinegar with honey. And then here's the rest of the eggplant dried up, and you might be asking, well, why are you doing that? Well, it's because if you saw that video I did, it came out I think a couple weeks ago. It was the last video that I had published on the natural healing testimonies. So I'll link to that video down below. I can't remember what number it is, but somebody in there shared their own testimony about using eggplant tincture to heal her husband. And then because of that, several people came in and made comments on how they used eggplant or eggplant tincture for many other things. And I was just kind of blown away. I'm like, Who knew? You know, we're just seeing it as a vegetable, which apparently is actually considered a fruit. But at any rate, I thought, I'm going to give that a try just for the heck of it. So I decided to make some up, and I'm also shooting a video real soon on the benefits of eggplant and how you can use it for various things. So I recommend you go check out that video, and also the whole playlist of the natural remedy testimonies. So that's just people who follow me on any of my platforms, Rumble, YouTube, X, and Instagram, that just share their testimonies with me via email, and then I put them into these different videos that I'm shooting, and I still have a lot more to go. I know I've done, I think, 11 of them so far. Not all of them have published yet because I'm so far ahead, remember. So yeah, if you're interested in sharing your own natural healing testimony, just email me at raincountryhomestead@gmail.com and title it Natural Healing Testimony so I can drop it in the appropriate folder. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up is that you'll see right here, this is my jet fueled latte. So aside from the video I did of the interview we did of Patrick's dad back in 2016 that I remastered because I thought that one really needed to get out there again, and improving the sound and the lighting and all that. Because here's the thing, when I first started my channel in 2016, we had an old video camera. I didn't have any kind of special lighting. I was just using whatever light was coming in from the window, and I'd turn on overhead. So I didn't have a ring light. We didn't have any fancy lighting. So a lot of my images were dark. The sound was bad. I had a free movie editor that didn't give me a lot of options in being able to really improve the picture or the sound. Well, then what happened was the video I had on this, the last one I did several years ago, I mentioned a certain taboo subject, and it was the one I happened to bring up in the Rumble randomness video that I can only talk about on Rumble now because of YouTube's ever-changing policies. So thank you for those who went and watched that video. My own recent testimony on how I use that particular substance and how it helped me to heal myself from something that I tried everything else on. Well, for some reason in that video on the jet fueled latte, I brought up that substance. And I realized that, and I'm like, oh, I better take that down. And initially I was thinking I'll reshoot it, but I wasn't sure how long it would be before I got around to making some and shooting a video. And even if I did make some right away, it might be a while before the video gets out. So I wanted to get it out as soon as possible. So what I did was I just took the old video and thought I'll just do the same thing like I did with Pat's dad's interview with the old hillbilly, and I'll just remaster it. And it was really fun. And it's still a lot of work, even taking a video that's already been edited and then edited again. But it saves me the time of having to reshoot it. And if I've already got a lot of great information there, why not do it that way? I brighten the picture, I raise the sound, and try to improve on it as much as possible. Plus, add more information into it in text and in pictures and in video clips, just to make it more interesting. So the first of the series of remastered videos I'm doing is publishing this Wednesday. So in 2 days, you'll have this recipe. And in that case, I did put the written recipe in the description box as well, so that you'll have that too. So that's one of the other things I'm doing with some of the recipe videos, is adding either a link to the written recipe or that you can access for free, or just copying and pasting it into the description box. I'm also redoing some of Patrick's old videos too that I think are really good, including the 2 comedy ones he did in 2017 that were part of a collaboration with some other channels. Lots of fun. So those will be coming out fairly soon. But anyway, every Wednesday for the next, right now I'm covered up until early November, believe it or not, and I've got several more videos to do. So I'm thinking I'll probably have these remastered videos coming out clear to the end of December by the time I finish all the ones I really want to do. So it's been a fun project to take on. And while it can be just as time consuming editing some old videos as doing new ones, at the same time, it still saves me time because I don't have to shoot the videos. Yeah, so be watching for this Wednesday, this week. This will be publishing, plus the many more that are coming out over the next several months every Wednesday. I hope you enjoy this because it's been very fun taking this on and watching these old videos, and then seeing some of the things that have changed since, things that I do differently now. And I do put notes in there. So I also add that stuff in there, add photos, of other ideas or options or ways I do some things different. So that also gives you more different ideas on how to do something. And one of those that I just redid was my homemade mac and cheese. Well, I'm going to make a big batch of that this weekend because we got our friends coming over, and 3 out of the 5 of them that come have to be gluten-free. And so I always make sure whatever I do is going to be totally gluten-free. I found this brand on Vitacost. It's the best place to buy stuff like any kind of organic, things like pastas and cereals and whatnot. As far as cost goes, at least for us, Vitacost has been where I get that. And usually I'll almost always have a discount of at least 10 to 20% off. And I get free shipping because I always order enough to get free shipping. But anyway, I get the Jovial brand. It's organic and gluten-free. And so that's what I'm going to be using to make the hamburger mac and cheese this weekend. So that, just like with that video I just remastered, that was one of the things I added in there. Like, here's a good brand too of gluten-free if you need to be gluten-free when you're making this. So yeah, a lot of little information like that I can add in because, I've picked up new things, got, maybe use something different like the butter in the same macaroni and cheese video. I don't really use the Kerrygold as much anymore because I can get a decent price on the organic and grass-fed Rumiano butter from Azure Standard. So I also dropped that in there too, because I get a lot of my stuff like that from Azure Standard, which they also have some great organic pastas there too at Azure Standard. And then a quick thing on Blackberries. I was going to bring this up last week. So I posted a photo of my thornless blackberries blooming out there, and this is why I think it's important I share this. Your wild blackberries, whatever variety they are. So around here we get the little small wild ones, but mostly get the Himalayans, and they're the best tasting ones. We also have the evergreens. They don't have a whole lot of flavor. To me, the thornless blackberry and the evergreens have a very similar flavor, but the thornless ones get bigger. So when I'm out picking them wild, I try to avoid the evergreens because while they're okay, the Himalayans have much better flavor. However, the thornless blackberries, they come in way sooner than the wild ones over on our other piece. So the ones that I have, I wouldn't get rid of. Some people are saying, well, I just ripped all mine up because they tasted terrible. I don't think they taste terrible. I think they taste good. They're just they don't have that strong flavor like the wild ones do. But they get really big. And my blackberries were given to me by my brother-in-law who passed away in 2019. And he was a very generous and sweet man. And there's no way I'm going to go rip those up because they're a reminder of who he is. And so my sister-in-law comes over because it's Pat's sister's husband who passed away. I always point those out. Look at those blackberries that Danny got me because I know that really warms her heart. So no, I'm not going to rip those out. I'm going to keep them and I use them. What the chickens don't have free range to because they're up too high, those I pick and I mix in with the currants and the raspberries and the strawberries and make jams and pies and crisps out of, and they're really good like that. So I wouldn't totally discourage someone from getting the thornless blackberries, especially if they're, they want to be really careful about, maybe they've got children, grandchildren running around in there, whatever it is. Everybody's going to have their reasons. I wouldn't totally discourage it, but I would recommend before you get thornless blackberries, just because they're thornless and they get big and beautiful, you might want to find some to taste first and see what you think. Soil conditions will make all the difference in the world too, no matter what it is. Like out front, I have strawberries growing. I have strawberries in one of my pots they have no flavor. They're the same strawberries, the same variety, but those have no flavor. They just taste like water. Like literally, that's all they taste like. But then just over a few feet, strawberries grown in a different pot, they've got beautiful flavor. They're wonderful. And then the best strawberries, got to throw this in there too, were the white ones I got. So I've got a couple of ripe ones so far. And they're taking longer than the red ones, and they're young plants also in comparison. But the flavor on those is astounding. It just blew me away when I ate that first one. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. They're small, but they're powerful. And from what I understand, the white strawberries, which are also called a pine berry, which I'm assuming is because they do have a slight pineapple flavor to them. It's like a strawberry pineapple flavor, and it's strong. I love them. But anyway, what I understand is the white ones are the more wild variety. The red ones are the ones that have been cultivated through the years to have this red color, but I think strawberries were originally white. I could be wrong, Maybe somebody could correct me on that, but it seems like that's what I learned recently. But boy, they're delicious. I highly recommend getting yourself some pine berries, also known as white strawberries. So good. So anyway, yeah, soil conditions can have all the difference in the world, or the location of where your things are growing. So the people that said they thought their thornless blackberries tasted terrible, it might be the soil conditions or where they're growing or how much sun they're getting. So I might need to just add more to the pot that's growing the ones that are just have the no flavor to them. So anyway, just a little tidbit there. And then the other thing I wanted to share, I'm kind of excited about because I haven't done this in a while. Some of you, those of you who've been following me long enough, know that I was doing these subscriber photo collaborations where my followers, it doesn't matter from what platform, will send me photos of whatever the topic is of something that they've done, whether let's say it's a arts and crafts thing, so something they crocheted or knitted or sewed or painted or wood crafted, whatever. And then I put these collaboration photos together with music and make a slideshow, so that way everybody can be a part of this. It's really fun, and a lot of people find it encouraging. It's a lot of work doing the editing, let me tell you. Even as short as the video ends up being, it's a lot of work, but it is also a lot of fun. So I haven't done one in a while. I keep forgetting about them. So because I was focusing on the natural healing testimony videos and the preparedness testimony videos, and I keep forgetting to come back to this. So I came up with basically a new idea, and this is just going to be a food storage collaboration. So this can be, it doesn't have to be something you grew in your garden. It can be anything that you're storing up, and it can be stored in any way. So it can be photos of things you are dehydrating or have dehydrated, canned, freeze dried, whatever. However it is that you've put it up. It can be images of maybe your pantry, whatever it is you feel like sharing with us, just as long as the pictures are clear and clean and don't have a lot of clutter in them. Make sure that people can really focus on what the focal point is to be. So that's one of the tricks to shooting photos. It's okay to have pretty things in the background that can accentuate whatever's in the foreground, but you don't want a lot of clutter back there, because then the eye doesn't know what to focus on. So make sure that you keep your background clean, unless it's something like, a lot of times I'll take some of my silk flowers that I get. I'll have a few different sets of these for different times of the year, and I can use those to accentuate whatever's in the foreground. And I do that sometimes, but not always. So yeah, those aren't real. I do sometimes have real flowers out here because they're flowers from maybe my daughter-in-law or one of my sons or something. But yeah, those ones are fake. But anyway, things like that are fine. Then you'll just email those to me at raincountryhomestead@gmail.com with the title Food Storage Collaboration, so I'll know what folder to drop it in. And I'm not sure yet on my time frame. Usually I give it about 2 months. So right now we're beginning early July. So let's try to shoot for end of August, having all those images in. But I'll keep you updated in my Monday This and That videos to let you know how that's coming along, if I'm going to extend it out or close it out, so that you'll know. And that's it for my This and That for the week. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check the links I'll be putting in the description box down below. And any thoughts or ideas you would like to put in the comments, please do so. Those comments and likes and all that help boost the algorithm, and it doesn't cost you anything, so that the information can get out there to more people. And thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.